And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Monday, April 20th, 2026. Temperatures outside approaching 60 degrees across much of the area. And we'll make it up, it looks like, into the upper 60s today, albeit on the windy side. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. And Bridgette, welcome to Monday. How was your weekend?
I will tell you, I think we can just say windy is some minor statement. It's almost a hurricane out there. And for someone who's going to be driving south today, oof, no.
Yeah, you're going to be fighting a nice headwind. That's for sure.
It's going to be a lack of mileage is what's going to be happening.
Yeah, no doubt.
Real lack of mileage.
No doubt. And we're going to continue with the windy conditions as we head through the afternoon. But the good news is our winds will lighten up as we head into the overnight and also as we head into tomorrow. So the rest of today, we're looking at highs in the upper 60s, a lot of sunshine, but windy conditions out of the south, gusting close to 40. Red flag warnings are in effect east of the river into Minnesota. So obviously, you don't want to be burning with very dry conditions to our east. And then tonight, we'll lighten up the winds, dropping off into the mid-30s. And tomorrow, an ideal day. Low 70s, light winds out of the southeast. Doesn't get much better than that. And then as we head into Wednesday, we're going to have a taste of some summer warmth with highs in the mid-80s. Now, the record on Wednesday is 89. I don't think we're going to quite get there, but we're still looking at mid-80s being a very nice day. And then we'll see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms come in Wednesday night. And lasting into Thursday, a little cooler on Thursday with temps in the 70s, and then the bottom falls out by the end of the weekend with highs only in the 40s. Ugh, man, if you have any travel plans going west into the Bakken towards the end of the week, those areas could pick up some measurable snow Thursday and Friday. We'll keep an eye on that, but other than that, most of the snow going to be relegated into Canada with this next system coming through. So we'll get the cold air behind it, but I'm not seeing any measurable snow for our area, so that's good. Last thing we want is that as we head into the tail end of April here.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, I know.
Significant snowfall has happened that last week of April. I'm not saying I want it. I'm not excited about that idea, but it's possible.
Right. Well, as long as we don't get it in May. Again, we do have a stormy part of the LRC cycle coming that first week in May, but let's just hope that's rain and not any surprise snows. That's the last thing we need in early May.
Well, speaking of those surprises, this could be your chance for one as listeners. This week, it's time to listen for the Jay's phrase that pays during the Jay Thomas Show each day. Notice how slowly I said that. So, giving away cash, brought to us by sponsors such as Laney's. You can fetch a free outdoor AC unit when you purchase a new Coleman high-efficiency furnace. ATI Diesel in Fargo. If your light-duty diesel pickup needs help, take it to ATI Diesel. They really are the truck experts. JD's Barbecue, smoked and cooked to perfection. Delicious barbecue every time. They're next to Tailgaters in downtown Fargo. We happened to have JD's Barbecue at the office last week. Was really good. Addison, you even got in on that. You got to leave your tiny room for a moment so you could eat. I was very proud of you.
It was very nice.
And the food was good.
It was very good.
And this week's cash sponsor is the Red River Range. Don't let road construction keep you away. The Red River Shooting Range in West Fargo is open and waiting for you to take aim. I may want to get in a little practice myself. So, whatever Jay's phrase that pays is, you have to listen for that. It's going to play during his show between 2 and 5 o'clock today. And if you are in and able to repeat that phrase perfectly, you have the chance to win some cold, hard cash to take home. So, certainly worth your attention. And, well, let's talk about hemp production, because it's not hump day, it's hemp day.
It's 420.
So it seemed appropriate. Have a little discussion about hemp. Actually, hemp caught on for a while there. I don't know that folks are growing nearly as much as they used to. For a while, South Dakota was the leading hemp production state in the U.S., but they've backed down on some of their acres. Really, its high point was happening right around World War II when folks were looking for hemp for rope fibers and using it, trying to use something different. Now, Hemp is still used for fiber and seed. It's actually a pretty good nutritional ration that you can add for livestock. Hemp itself has low THC levels, and if you're going to produce it, you have to maintain those low levels. It's not like raising medicinal marijuana and all the other things. But you can get some extracts. There was about 20 million pounds produced in the U.S. in the year 2024, but I think that number fell for 2025. One thing that hemp does do is it sequesters carbon. So a hectare, not quite the same as an acre, but a hectare, the European measurement, that can store about 15 tons of CO2 in just 5 months, which is versus a young forest. And then when it comes to the soil health, it's once again going to be like a cover crop, suppressing weeds, preventing erosion. But the hemp flowers, as far as biodiversity, they provide pollen, shelter for birds, and are actually a pretty big part of nature in a lot of different areas. So just a few hemp day items that I thought maybe we should share on this day.
So we just had an email come in. It's and this makes a lot of sense. It said, "Why can't somebody find a way to make weed smell good? I'm tired of our apartment complex smelling like skunk."
That's because it's called vaping.
That's good though.
So if you wanted to,
with technology, you'd think you could take the smell out of it, wouldn't you?
I am in full agreement of that person.
well, I would say at this point, remember they make all the flavors for vaping, so that's probably
could
what
do
your
that way,
go-to is
yeah.
going to have to be.
It's got to happen. Someone's got to be working on that. Please, someone.
They could
Probably why
make a lot of money.
that's why Bath and Body Works and other places sell a lot of candles.
Doesn't work. Then it just smells like candles and weed.
Probably true. Probably true. And, okay, and the farm kid in me, there would be so many times I've been like at a concert or events and so forth and thought, did somebody hit a skunk on their way here? It took me a long time till I caught on to what that really was. A little slow.
I'm going to call out anyone who lives in an apartment in this town. If you think you're trying to be sneaky and you're like, I'm just going to have a little bit and like not leave the apartment building. Yes.
It's not sneaky.
Everyone in your apartment building can smell that. Please stop. We can all smell it.
And that's why today is hemp day. Hemp production. That's where I was going with the whole thing. But if you have questions, comments, and concerns, you can also reach out to us on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000, because that phone line is brought to us by Nate Thorsrud, JLA Insurance, for your crop insurance needs. He's happy to take your calls and answer the questions you may have. He's a farmer too. And you can be watching us on today's live stream, brought to us by Lighthouse Commodities. They make sure we're covered on Acres TV, Facebook, and YouTube. And as the summer starts with all sorts of farm events, one of those things will be the IPHD Field Day at the end of July, and Acres TV already planning what we're going to be doing for the show down there so we can be a bigger part of that operation. And emails, just like we get emails from each other during the show, we get emails from listeners as well, and that's brought to us by Superior Grain Equipment. They keep our email inboxes powered up the same way they protect your farm's future with Superior Grain Storage, Drying, and Handling Solutions. Give them a call or check them out at superiourbins.com. I mentioned Jay's phrase, that pays. That's just one of the promotions we're going to be doing. Also, as we get closer and closer to going to the field, I'll be doing the Flag a Farmer program, and I'm going to be doing that with Landmark Companies and Geronimo Power. You'll see us out traveling. May catch you while you're in the field, in the yard, at the farm shop. We're going to be handing out U.S. flags to Flag a Farmer. You can fly them on the flagpole in the yard, hang them up in the shop, or some of you fly them off your air seeders, drills, and so much more. We are thrilled to be able to share those with you. So you'll see myself and the sponsors out here in the next couple weeks dropping off those items for you to use. So those are just a few of the tidbits of things that are going on. Additionally, we have a guest today. We are going to be joined by Alison Johnson. She is with Moorhead High School Skills and Technical Service Center. So this is a heads up. We want to hear what Alison does to bring more technical and agricultural skills to students who are enrolled in the program. But then, as employers, how can you be helping possibly getting interns who could be getting on the job training from you to be future employees and future members of the industry. Well, we're going to talk about what that means and how we're going to get it done when Alison joins us after the American Ag Network's Livestock Report, and we'll be back. Today is our opportunity to talk about how to get interns into your place of business, but the skills that students are learning first when they are part of the program over at Moorhead High School and their Skills and Technical Center. Alison Johnson is joining us, and I want to take this opportunity to say internships that are available, I can't wait for students to take advantage of them. It is so important that they say yes whenever they can, and thank you to the employers who give them the shot. We actually have that opportunity to do an internship here with our assistant ag directors, brought to us by Cass County Farm Bureau. That allows us to bring a student on air once a month who asks questions, does interviews, and gets to see the behind the scene things that we do. And so, Allison, I don't know if you're doing radio skills for folks, but let's talk about what you are doing over in Moorhead.
I mean, radio skills should definitely be on there. It's a lot of communication and networking, and there's a lot of really good things happening here at Moorhead. Everything from culinary hospitality work to business and agriculture, welding and trades and things like that. And we have a lot of programs that are running right now and a lot of students who are gaining access into those skills, which is really fun to see.
Well, where should we start with the list? We had the great fortune of meeting Jeff Schneider, who is your welding and machining teacher, and we talked about Skills USA, so we'll get into that as well. But besides the welding and machining, which there certainly is a stronger and stronger demand every year, what are some of the other areas that we can focus on that you're providing for students?
Yeah, so right now, some of our biggest programs, I'd say, are our culinary and hospitality program. Johanna Heigard is our culinary instructor here at the Career Academy in Moorhead, and she has currently got the program up to a culinary 2 level. So students get to explore 9th grade through senior year what it's like to be in an industrial kitchen and develop the skills of a culinary artist, a nutritionist, dietitians, and things like that. And really, that's a focus of a lot of our students, and it really is an entryway into a lot of careers in some type of food service work. I made sandwiches in college for my first major big girl career, and it got me a starting point somewhere, and so that one's been really big for us. Our business program is also growing and getting bigger. We have a Business Professionals of America chapter here, and we had students compete this spring as well at their state level, and I think we have a couple going to nationals for that as well. So that one's been really big, and that encompasses a lot of stuff. When you say business, that could be sales, marketing, could be digital media and graphics, it could be human resources, stuff like that. So that program's getting really large as well, and would love to see more businesses bring in a student to see what that's like in their agency. It's a little different everywhere you go. And it's such good skills, right? The communication, the organization, the networking, the detail that it takes to do well with money and stuff like that. So those are, outside of trades, those are 2 of our biggest programs that we have right now serving our students.
All right, let's talk about where some of these things can fit for our students. First of all, I want to go back to what you said about food and hospitality, because the first thing we think about is, restaurants, hotels, etc. But when I think about our rural schools and rural hospitals, and you mentioned dietetics, those are probably areas that students take these skills, they then hone them in a college setting, and then take right back out to their small communities. Fair statement?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And even in Moorhead, we've had conversation. Things can take some time to get going after conversations have happened, but we've had conversations with Sanford. We've had conversations with places like Eventide who want to take the high school student who's interested, bring them in, and then say, okay, go get that degree, come back to us. And that's huge, because that takes that high school experience to a whole new level. It brings in that college degree, and it brings in that experience, and they apply both of those together, and they get to do it in their hometown, which I think is really amazing.
As we talk about some of these skills, I'm going to go back to the welding and machinery that we talked about, or machining, with Jeff Schneider. And I see the advancements that are happening with 3D printing and 3D technology, and learning now that we're going to see 3D printing happening on aluminum, possibly stainless steel parts, other mediums besides plastics. Is that being incorporated into what students are seeing today?
I would say so. Troy Spear is probably a really great individual to talk to about that. He's so good with that stuff. But our students are really getting a chance to see, what CNC is like and what that printing is like. We have some funding available through our state through Perkins funding, and I think that conversation has been explored about accessing some 3D printing and stuff like that at the high school level to start dabbling with that skill and see what it is like. And so I think as we see more of that in the community, and as we bring in those partners who are saying, yes, this is what we're doing, we want to train students at a younger age, I think it creates more reasonable acknowledgement for bringing it into the high school level too. And sometimes it's the push we need, right? Is for our high school instructors to see that this is in fact what the industry is doing and what they need. And these are the skills that we could be and should be equipping them with now. Sometimes it's a little slow just because there's a lot of moving parts to bring in some of that equipment into the high school level, but so worth it the more and more we're hearing it happening in the community.
When you mentioned that you have an opportunity with agriculture, and as students are getting more skills in that realm, are there specific areas within ag? Are we talking about horticulture, agronomy, mechanics? What does that scope of the program look like?
You know, it's funny you say that. I've had students talk a lot about agronomy this year. I've heard that come up probably a dozen times. And it's so hard with the school schedule and the timing of the year to really get them those experiences, right? But that I'd say that one is huge. I'd say machining and equipment work is really big. We've got a lot of students who are rural and come into Moorhead, and they're bringing in their lawnmowers and they're bringing in their small tractors to work on in small engines, and they're bringing those skills right back to their farm to learn and to help their farm prosper. And I think those are two of the really big areas that we've had students at least talking about, you know, and I'd say even construction. Ag construction's been huge too. We have a construction program going. John Schmidt is the teacher there, and he's really excited to give students more opportunities to do that. And that's just one that can be tricky, right? High school students, they're 16, 17, maybe not the best at all of the skills yet, but they want to learn. And that's kind of what we're hoping to do, is build those connections to give them more experiences to learn.
Everybody's got to learn how to read a tape measure somewhere, and you better learn to do it well.
Absolutely.
This may be kind of an aside in the conversation. With the agronomy work, does this tie into Moorhead bringing back an FFA program as well and having an FFA chapter?
Absolutely. We have had students really excited about having FFA and being able to do those competitions and to interact with other students who have other ag programs and classes and learn from them. And they have done really well so far this year for getting to bring it back. Our two advisors, John Schmidt and Gabe Lasla, have really gotten the kids excited, and they're all in. We've got students who are all about it, and I love to see that, because I grew up in a school who had FFA, and it was a huge chapter, and that was, you know, those FFA competitions were life for us. So
as someone who's heading to the South Dakota FFA convention after the show today, I'm all in with you. That sounds fantastic. So, okay, so Allison, we've got some other things we need to talk about, especially from the perspective of employers, and what we can do to get employers excited about bringing these students into their workplace and some of the skills that they can learn. We're going to do that after our bottom of the hour news, and when we return, we'll continue our conversation with Allie Johnson. She's with the Moorhead High Skills and Technical Center. We'll be back. There are so many skills that students need today when they're graduating from high school and college that they can take into the workforce and make them extremely useful. And one of those skills might just be cybersecurity. Well, if you haven't had a chance yet, go over to techsupport.farm, do the fence check assessment, because as a student, you may find yourself interested and intrigued. One, to improve your own cybersecurity. Two, to improve it for your farm or ranch. And three, what if that's job opportunity down the road for you? So check it out, techsupport.farm. Meanwhile, we're going to continue visiting with Alison Johnson. She's with Moorhead Skills and Technical Center. We've been talking about the wide scope of programs that the Technical Center offers to students. But let's take that from an employer perspective, Allie. I'm an employer. I am considering having students work on site. What are the steps that we should be following to get someone involved and help hone those skills that they're building?
Yeah, so it's two parts. From what I've experienced running the program for the last 3 years, it really is two parts. First is, what do you want them to see, and kind of setting up an in-house almost routine. Who are they working with? Who's going to be their spokesperson or their mentor? Who's kind of going to give them the oversight and take charge and work with the student more one-on-one? That can be very diverse. That could look like rotations with different departments under different people, or it could be one person is kind of their supervisor for the duration of an experience. The second part of that goes hand in hand with reaching out to a work-based learning coordinator, either at Moorhead, which is me, or Shanda Cool with C3 Tech, kind of oversees Horace, West Fargo, Northern Cass, Central Cass, and all of our partnering schools, and really saying, hey, this is the opportunity we think we want to provide. We would have the student do these things. This would be the industry or the work that they'd be doing. And then I do a lot of the hands-on work with the students, connecting with the ones that would be a good fit, who might be most interested. I do a lot of emailing back and forth with teachers to say, hey, this is an experience we have available to our students. Do you have one that you can think of that would be a great fit? We really want to do that job fit connection to make sure that it's something that is meaningful and relevant and exciting for the student to see, because it's an industry that they're pursuing or interested in pursuing. And also so that you get that student who is really, really excited about it, hands-on, and is eager to be there and learn. Because no one wants to have an experience that doesn't go right, or doesn't go as well, or doesn't hit the points that everyone wants it to hit. So it's a lot of connection. And so once you've got an idea, send me an email, give me a phone call, and we'll work to do the connecting with the students. And then from there, it really depends on what the business's hiring or processes would be from there. Then some places do a formal job interview with the student just to really get to know them, make sure they'd be the right fit. Some will do a tour and then say, okay, what do you think? And then the next day the student gets started. So it can be really unique, and it can be very business centered in what you want to show the students and what you want some help with. That's the best part about doing a high school internship program is, hey, you want some help running this stuff? You want some new ideas? Bring in a student. I promise you they've got a bunch of ideas, and they'll approach it in a way you might have never thought to. So
as you are thinking about this from an employer perspective, students are coming in during the school day. Can they be there after the school day? Can they be working in the summer as part of this program?
Yeah, so students are given, we call it we have a block schedule. So they're given a block of their day when they're in the program called Work Experience to go out and do this. So once they've got their paperwork done, because there's always a contract to sign, but once they have that base paperwork done, the student is given an hour and a half in their school day every day next year to go work, to go be on their job site, to go build those skills. And whatever other schedule they build with their supervisor or their supervising team is theirs. I have students last year who worked until sometimes it was 8 p.m. I had some kids who would go in during other off blocks, and they're like, hey, I've got an off block at 8 a.m. Can I come in and work my first block? Boss says yes. They're free to build their schedule around their needs and the company's needs too, which is super nice. They're not limited just to that hour. They can come in whenever. And if they want to continue, a lot of times we see businesses, especially in the second semester right before school year ends, they'll offer to extend in some type of, maybe it's an entry-level intern role or it's an employment role, and they'll keep them going through the summertime. And that completely comes down to the business and the student if they want to continue or not.
Oh, very cool. Are students paid? Is that an expectation of the employer, or is that the choice of the employer if they choose to make it a paid opportunity?
It comes down to the employer. So we call it work experience in Moorhead.
Hmm.
Across the river, they call it cooperative work experience. And it really depends on the business. A lot of our companies that we work with in Moorhead right now do kind of pay as like an entry level position. Others they don't, and we call it a kind of depends on the phrasing, but a lot of time it's like a mentorship or an unpaid internship. Because the goal is that the students are just developing the skills. They're earning high school credit if it's paid or unpaid, so that becomes their compensation, and they know that. But it's just a benefit if it is paid, and sometimes that keeps the kids longer, more engaged, or gets them more
Oh,
interested in continuing.
yeah,
So,
cash has a tendency to do that. I understand entirely.
absolutely, absolutely, especially when you're a young high school kid who likes to drink a lot of energy drinks and stuff. That might be a hit in the right direction. So.
When you are looking at employers, and I'm going to focus on agronomy, are
Yeah.
you looking for seed warehouses, fertilizer companies, farms, independent or cooperative locations where all of those things happen, custom application? Is it wide open to see what the fit is?
All the above.
Okay.
All the
Okay.
above. And sometimes that's the best part of it for a student is that we can come in and talk about it and say, what is this? What does this look like? What do you mean by this? And first and foremost, it makes them think about what they actually mean about it. And second, a lot of times they're like, I don't know. So I'm open to it. And they just want to experience what it's like so they have a better understanding of it.
And it can be difficult, right? Because there are times of the year that students are in school and want to be working. That's not necessarily the cycle for the particular job they're
Absolutely.
interested in.
Yep. And that part is really hard for them, but it's also a good reality moment too of like, oh, that's fair. They're probably not doing any planting or things in December. We just can't do that here. So it's a good reality moment for them too.
Do you have
Yeah.
stats on kids that have participated in the program and what their hiring percentages are? A higher rate of them are hired by folks that they interned with, or just a higher hiring rate in general? What does that look like?
So at a local level, we don't have that data because it's really hard for us to continue tracking once they graduate because we don't have any way to keep their information current. From the state level, though, there is a ton of research that does say between 70 and 77% of students who do some type of work-based learning program are at a higher ability after they graduate. And I'd say of that stat, most of them continue within the placement that they were at or something adjacent to it.
Okay.
So.
Do you have a certain geographical range that you are looking for employers who are willing to bring in interns?
Honestly, not really. I have traveled down to Holly for a couple of student placements for visits and things like that. I'd say it gets challenging the farther out we go. That Fargo, Moorhead, Dilworth, the Horace, West Fargo area is convenient for the students, particularly just because of the hour and a half they get in their schedule. Not as fun to spend a half hour of that driving every day unless they have the ability to work a little bit longer, of course. But if a student is willing and they see something that's 45 minutes away and they want to make it work, I am by no means going to tell them no. I want
Okay.
them to have an experience that they're proud of and excited about. And if that means they're driving closer to DL, I guess we're making some trips to DL, and that's okay with me.
As a kid, we had work experience like this as well in high school, but it was also helpful to be in a town of about 1,200 people where it was pretty easy to get around to your employer. So it can be
Absolutely.
challenging, I would imagine, for you and for students to fit this into a work day, much less a school day.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say it is really nice to be a border city between our communities. There's a lot of resources. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and it's nice that they're not confined to just being in the Minnesota side. I've got lots of students who go into West Fargo and do work there, and it's nice to not feel. It's nice for them not to feel limited. It might mean their drive is a little bit farther, but that is what it is.
That is very fair. Very fair. So, Alison, it's been great to visit with you, learn some of the things that are going on in your agricultural program and more. And I'm curious if there are employers who are listening and they really want to participate, they want to get students involved and be active in this program, how can they reach you?
Yeah, so two different ways. This Friday, Moorhead Public Schools and West Fargo Public Schools, we're actually doing an event with the Chamber of Commerce at Microsoft Commons. It's called Insider Access, Work-Based Learning from Interest to Impact. We are really just trying to kick off this season of participate and engage with work-based learning. So we're doing that event on Friday. I believe it starts at 9 a.m. at Microsoft. So there is a registration link on the Chamber's website. That'd be one of the first ways, and you'll get a chance to hear too from some of the other companies who've participated in work-based learning with our students and kind of talk about how they've done it, how they've class just got out.
Oh, we're really enjoying that melodic tone. Thank you.
It's so lovely in the afternoon. But that event will really be a great connecting point to see, who's doing this at each school and how they're doing it. We've done a lot of work to kind of streamline our processes. Oh, and now the lights are turning off. What an afternoon. Never know what's going to happen at the Career Academy. But so that's one way. That event will be really fun. We've done a lot of work with Fargo and West Fargo to make sure we're kind of on the same page with our programs, and we are, which is really exciting. So that'd be the first way to get in touch with me if we're interested in doing work-based learning. The other way is just send me an email. I teach a lot of classes still, so I'm not always available via phone, but an email to Alison Johnson at moorheadschools.org will get you right in touch with me, and we can at least have a conversation about what that could look like for you or your business or your farm to bring in a student.
That would be outstanding. So Alison, thanks for the time to come on in today and visit with us, share what's happening not only with the students, but what you're looking for employers. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Bridgette. I really appreciate it.
All right, when we come back, we'll have a recap of the weather, near record warmth later this week before a return to much cooler weather. We'll give you the details and a few ag topics as well after the break. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:51 in the afternoon. Temperatures outside here at the studio, 62 degrees. A little cooler in the northern valley into northwest Minnesota, where temperatures are held into the mid to upper 50s, while we have mid to upper 70s out in the western part of the state. And we're going to see some of those 70s push eastward as we head into tomorrow. Much lighter winds tomorrow as well. Tomorrow's going to be a beautiful one. After today's highs in the upper 60s, tomorrow low 70s, and we're looking at mid-80s on Wednesday with a chance for showers and storms Wednesday night into Thursday, and then much cooler weather back into the 40s to end the week. So weather whiplash continues. We had it last week, seeing it again this week, and, well, that's spring. There's not much you could do. At least we don't see any measurable snow in our area, so that's bonus there. And not a lot of moisture either, Bridgette, which is good news. Give our farmers a chance to prep up for planting. And the rain that we have coming in Wednesday night into Thursday, quarter inch or less. So not a big deal there.
Let's get in the field. These windy days are helpful. Does help dry things out. Certainly don't mind getting a little warm air in there as well. That would be great. So, little trivia question for you guys. Where are Baby Bell cheeses made?
At the Baby Bell Cheese Factory. You won't
Well, of
fool
course.
me.
Well, now where is the factory, Addison?
Oh, no.
You're
It's
on the
within the
spot.
tri-state area.
Bold of you to assume I know what that is.
It's Alexandria.
I didn't pay attention in school.
Brookings. Brookings, South Dakota is the nation's only Baby Bell cheese factory. The cute tiny cheeses that everybody loves, right?
Yeah, that was my
Okay.
guess.
Right, you were on top of it, I know. So they actually are looking to double their production. Currently, they make 1.6 million tiny cheeses per day, and now they're looking by the year 2028 that they're going to be making 3 million. It's going to double the amount of dairy that they need, so lots more milk going to be rolling into their plant. They're going to go from 1.8 billion pounds to 5.4 in the state of South Dakota, and a lot of that's going to be directed into Baby Bell. Most of the fluid milk that's produced, particularly in the upper Midwest, does not always just go to the milk we buy in a carton or a jug to drink, but certainly goes to more cheeses and yogurts. And with the high protein snack demands that are out there, Baby Bell cheese is on the forefront of it. People are loving them, buying them tremendously, all the different flavors. And now you know that the freshest Baby Bell cheese is in this region because it's coming right out of Brookings. Handy to have around.
All right.
Well,
Who knows someone who has eaten a Baby Bell without peeling it?
Why would you eat the wax?
Because some people aren't that smart. I know people who have just
No.
just taken a big bite and then complain. They're like, this doesn't taste very good.
Oh, wow.
I know people who've done that.
You're not hanging out with those people, are you still?
Every now and
Was
then.
it you? Because if it
No,
was you, I
it
have
was
some
it was
problems.
not me. I was smart enough to peel the little wax
Wax.
dye off of it.
It's wax. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like people that take bites out of fake fruit. Just think for a little bit before you try to eat something, please.
The dietary needs of America frighten me. But you should know the amount of milk produced per person averaged for 2025, 678 pounds. That's a
Wow.
lot of milk, kids.
There's a lot of milk.
North Dakota is actually deficient in fluid and soft milk products because we do not hardly produce any, and we certainly don't make enough to support what our needs would be in state. Now, next door in South Dakota, as well as Minnesota, they're cranking her out. In fact, I was very surprised to see that South Dakota is about 3 times the size of milk production than the state of Minnesota. So that's really changed over. They, in fact, are competing heavily against Wisconsin for the amount that's produced. Top 10 dairy states, the state that has the most cows, California, that's where the happy cows are. And they also produce the most as far as millions of pounds of milk are concerned. But the state that produces the most milk per cow, Michigan. So I guess they've got the most efficient herds over in Michigan. The most cows per herd? Arizona. They like it
Wow.
in sunny Arizona, apparently,
Hmm.
and then produce a tremendous amount of milk per herd down there. So, interesting little dairy facts
Does
that
that
everybody was thinking about.
does that have anything to do with the heat? Being able to produce more milk?
There's just more cows in their herd.
Okay.
So it's a volumetric situation where you've got more cows, they're producing more milk. So you've got just that much more milk in the region. But yeah, there are some dairies that are looking to move their cows to other states because let's face it, it's hot and it takes a lot to keep dairy cows cool, and they consume a tremendous amount of water when they're under stress like that. They're heavy drinkers, those cows. Then, just in time for Mother's Day, I'm sure you were considering buying mom flowers. You were all thinking it. I'm the one who said it. But you're going to find a little bit more expense this year when it comes to those flowers. Kenya's cut flower industry has been having weekly losses of over $1 million since the whole fight with Iran has begun and the Strait of Hormuz. We're open, we're closed, we're open, we're closed, we're open, we're closed. So the Kenya Flower Council has really been discouraged by the whole situation. Most of those flowers do, in fact, go to Europe, but a number of them still come to the North American countries as well. The largest cut flower farm, is south of Nairobi, and they are usually sending out about 450,000 stems per day. They're down to about 150,000 to 200. Demand has fallen, as well as the reliability for shipping for a perishable product. So their concern is certainly what will happen going forward in the future if the strait stays open, if they can pick back up in that demand. But unfortunately, they have lost so many flowers, and just the amount that had to be set aside, wilted, destroyed, etc., has been extraordinary for them. But yes, Kenya, one of our primary markets in the world for fresh cut flowers, carnations and roses in particular, whereas Holland, that's where you're getting all your tulips. So just a little flower update as well.
Facts everybody should know, right?
Hey, we went from hemp to dairy. We're all the way over.
We're covering everything
already.
today.
We got them all. Got them all.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us on Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll catch you all tomorrow, but don't go anywhere yet. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.